the nature of like a city is change, and you know, like maybe life change is like this ever. It's something we have to kind of acknowledge and kind of deal with at the same time. But how do you, when the nature has changed, how does a community remain strong and build upon its identity?
You got to just care about it. Because so during the time that my dad was thinking about selling it, I think a lot of people were feeling like they wanted to give up. My dad's generation, they're a lot older. My dad's now in his 70s. My mom is in her 60s. And that generation, like during Argyle's heyday, the owners of most of the businesses here were about that age. And I feel like a lot of them just kind of like got burnt out, tired. Yeah. Like they're not like wanting to, you know, push it forward so much, you know? And I feel that for me, I mean, when I started caring about it, when I started realizing like, oh, you know, this may not be here in the future. Like that's what is part of the driving force of why I do what I do, because I want it to continue. I want to continue the legacy. I feel like it's such an important part of Chicago. And I don't know, want to see that. I want to see this area thrive so much. And for me, I felt like it was really important for me to connect with others that felt the same way. So I was like, I was on the lookout for like who else felt this way. So I started reconnecting with some of my parents' friends' children who are adults.
So this is now, which kind of leads into some of the stuff that you're doing, but it sounds like a generational shift where you're coming to a sense that, oh, like older generations, they started this, or they ran this for a long time, but now they don't have the strength to do that. Do we continue to move it forward, or do we just like peace out and do our own thing, right?
Exactly. That's exactly what it was. Because for a while I was just thinking, peace out, you know. But it was really like when I could see Argyle like not like how it was. I mean, I knew that, you know, like there were vacant stores and, you know, a lot of people like were moving out of this area, but it was literally like when my dad said that, you know, this may not be here anymore.
How long ago was that?
I want to say like 6 years ago or so.
Okay.
Yeah. So I always came into like the pharmacy to help out and like work on the weekends here and there. But I took it very seriously, like starting about 6 years ago.
So then when did you start Hi Bio?
Hi Bio started in 2019 with my a really good friend of mine, Hak Tran. Yeah. And
talk about that. Because I went to I first met you in January. My friend Justina Wynn, she was DJing at, is it Uni?
Uni.
Yeah. And then we met, and it was so cool because why don't you talk about it?
Yeah, so Uni is this really cute bubble tea shop that opened up on Argyle Street during the pandemic. And we ended up collaborating with Uni, right? And Shifa, who is very active in the Chinatown community, he actually reached out to me telling me about the opening of Uni and like ways that we can collaborate and create a Lunar New Year event. Have a Hi Bio event, but then it also be a grand opening. So I was super excited when he asked me, and I felt super honored too, because, you know, he does all this like awesome stuff in Chinatown. And then also because I was so scared during the pandemic, because I wasn't sure if a lot of the businesses here on Argyle Street were able to like continue, you know, and to have like a store open up during the pandemic was like, oh my God, this is so exciting. Like, let me do everything in my power to make it successful. So for the Hi Bio event, it was a Hi Bio Lunar New Year event. We, you know, created a 3-day kind of like indoor social distance kind of like festival. So we had vendors, we had performers, we had DJs, and there, you know, with Hi Bio, we mostly highlight Southeast Asian artists or BIPOC artists. And I was very intentional with this one. Hack and I spoke about how important it was to connect with those from Uptown. So we reached out to artists that were specifically from Uptown and that had very strong ties to Argyle Street. And we thought it was really important to showcase their artwork because it tells kind of like a story of how we all come together. And one of the reasons why we do this is because, I don't know, we just feel like it's important to find that like passion and love that we all have so that we can, you know, build something out of this area.
As someone, so I've been in Chicago for, I don't know, like 12 years now. And spent the last 7 in North Center. And then 7 months ago, I moved to Uptown. And I just love Uptown. It is so cool. There's so many different kinds of people all doing, like everybody's doing their own thing. And we all just like get along, and there's so much, everything is just so different, and everybody's like offering what they can, whether it's food or culture. It's so interesting to me, and I love it here. And going to that event too, there was this like poster board and like clips, like newspaper clips of, you know, Chicago newspapers from like the 70s and 80s talking about the area and the people here. And it's like, oh wow, there's so much history here. It's so cool that it's like an actual community and neighborhood. And it reminds me a little bit of like Sesame Street in a way, where like everybody's friends and like everybody's doing their thing, and you know there's high rises, and we're all in the city here doing that, and I just love Uptown so much. And I think Asia and Argyle, I live like a block away from everything you're talking about, and I see that on a daily basis of just people out here doing their thing and just being a community. And I think a lot about community, and those that have listened to this podcast, I read books about cities and communities and how people are the greatest assets of cities and communities, like you mentioned earlier. And there's just so many different and interesting types of people here.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's a melting pot of like different cultures and personalities. I mean, this area, I mean, there's just so much history here with like the Green Mill being here, the Uptown Theater and the Riviera. And I mean, this was like the area where, you know, all the, I guess like Hollywood was here, you know, this was like how things were back in the day. And, you know, there's so much personality in this area. It's such a gem, and it's right by the lake.
That's another great thing.
Yeah, I love it.